Hey guys, my name's Donald Trump. Today I'm in with John Moxley.
Hello, my friend. Is there something you need?
What's the reason why you left WWE?
A number of things, but mainly the fact that I hated how overly scripted and controlled everything was. I don't like how Vince McMahon does things.
Like what?
Well, how he tried to make me the next John Cena. Like, I have respect for John, but he's just not me at all. I'm happy where I am now, TBE.
Are you happy in AEW?
Absolutely. I'm treated as an equal. They trust me. I can be my own man without the corporate leash holding me back.
Why change your name to Dean Ambrose to John Moxley?
Because I wanted to go back to my original name. I didn't like Dean Ambrose as a name. Dean Ambrose was never me. It was a character in someone else's story. I'm not him. I'm John Moxley, and I'll be damned if some old man in Stanford CT controls my character ever again.
Are you and Triple H still friends?
We're not friends per se, but we have mutual respect now. I'm not as close to him as I once was, but we're no longer at each other's throats like we used to be.
Do you have a favorite moment in WWE?
Honestly, my original feud with Seth Rollins after the Shield broke up. That's something that still has legs, and if we both wanted to, we absolutely could run it back. It's a story that I'm willing to tell again.
If Seth Rollins join AEW, you will. At Seth Tag Team.
If Seth ever were to decide that he was done with the big league and wanted to make his way up here, the story is absolutely there. But for the time being, I'm just focused on my own story and where to go next. I have a lot I still want to accomplish.
Do you have a funny story in WWE?
I remember Vince coming up to me after one of my promos and telling me verbatim that he felt like I was a good boy. Then he patted me on the head. I remember wanting to punch him in the face.
I remember you versus Kenny Omega, explosive bar, wire, death match. How was that match done?
That match was brutal on my body. I've done quite a few hardcore matches in my day, but none of them compare to that. It hurt like hell, but I would do it all again for the love of the business.
What did you feel doing that match?
Honestly, it felt really good. In no way did it feel good physically. I was hurting for weeks after that match. But mentally, to be able to do all the spots that we did, to get the reaction that we did from the crowd, it was incredible.
I guess you and Seth Rollins not friends in real life?
Like I mentioned before, we're not friends, but we have mutual respect of one another. We may not be best pals, but at the same time, he got me a birthday present a few years ago. I got him one in return. It's strange. Sometimes we hate each other's guts, but there are other times where we are cool with each other.
I'll meet Renee Paquette.
Well, we first met backstage at a WWE event in 2013. She was working for the company at the time, and I was still in the Shield. We talked, hung out a bit. I didn't get her number, and I never expected to get it. But then a few months later, we met again backstage at a show, and she came up and asked for my number. We went out for lunch shortly after that, and everything just kind of went from there.
Do you have any plans to have a kid with her?
You know, honestly, no. At this point in time, I'm not ready to be a father. She feels the same way. At the moment, we're just trying to see where our lives will take us. I've said a few times that I don't want to be on the wrestling business as an active competitor by the time I'm in my 50s. By the time I'm in my mid 40s, I'll probably be retired from in-ring competition, just running creative and training the new students.
Are you happy that you won your AEW championship?
Beyond happy. I've had a lot of titles throughout my career, but the AEW Heavyweight Championship is by far the most important, most prestigious title I've ever held. And I plan on making sure that I make history holding this title.
Her childhood?
Honestly, it was a hell of a time. I was in and out of juvie a bit because I got in fights a lot. I was a rowdy kid and I did a lot of dumb stuff that I'm not proud of. But once I discovered pro wrestling, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I told my parents and they supported me.
Are proud of leader of the Death Riders?
Absolutely. I'm leading some of the best up-and-comers in the world. Shooter, Hangman, Takeshita. These guys are some of the most talented in the business right now, and I'm beyond proud that they chose to follow me and that they trust that I'm helping them reach their full potential.
Do you have a favorite match? In NJPW?
In NJPW, that would either have to be my match against Hiroshi Tanahashi. That was the first time I ever main evented. A sold-out Tokyo Dome, 45,000 people, sold-out show. I was main eventing against someone who at the time was considered the GOAT of NJPW. It was a huge moment for me. That or facing off against Kenny Omega for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
You was IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and a former two-time IWGP United States.
That is correct. I held both the heavyweight and U.S. titles in NJPW. I won the heavyweight belt twice and the U.S. title 3 times.
What's one match in WWE that you regret?
Easily my match with Brock Lesnar at the 2015 Royal Rumble. It was a bad match all around and it was over way too quickly. No one looked good leaving that match. me included.
You was in 12 rounds, 3 lockdown as Shaw.
Yes, I was. It was a lot of fun. I remember my first day on set, I couldn't act for crap. That was my first movie role I ever had, and I was nervous the entire time. But I had some amazing people around me that really helped me figure out what I was doing, and by the time I finished, I loved it.
Countdown as Dean Ambrose.
Countdown was an absolute riot. I remember having a scene that was supposed to take maybe 6 hours to shoot, but every time we did a take, I would just burst out laughing because the scenario was so stupid and we had to keep stopping and reshooting.
What's a couple of people that you refuse to work with?
There aren't many, to be honest. There are certain people that I have personal issues with that I wouldn't enjoy working with. I'd do it if need be because at the end of the day, this is a job, but I won't enjoy every second of it. Mainly one guy that I have a grudge against. And Tyrus, I refuse to work with him. He's the worst wrestler on TV today.
Why do you think so?
Because the dude is one of the worst wrestlers on television today. He moves incredibly slowly. His psychology isn't remotely there. I find him boring as hell. He shouldn't have a national TV platform. I'm sure he's a decent dude personally, but he sucks in the ring.
Are you ready for your dream match against Swerve Strickland of AEW Championship belt?
100%. Swerve and I go way back. We have history, but at the same time, I respect him as a competitor. I know what it means for him to get this match. It's something he's dreamed about for years, but so have I. I've been waiting for this for years. I'm ready to go to war. One question I have for you though, who's gonna win?
I have to pick you to win.
Damn right you do. Swerve might be a little quicker than me, but the thing about me, I've been in this business for over 15 years now. I've gone to war with the best and I know how to win. Swerve is an excellent talent, but he's no John Moxley.
Do you have a dream place that you always want to visit with your girlfriend?
I'd love to take her to Japan. It would be her first time going and she wants to visit really badly. Plus I have a ton of friends there that I'd like to introduce her to, so the trip is kind of a 2 birds with 1 stone kind of trip.
Did you hate being a babyface in WWE?
To put it simply, I hated it. There's nothing wrong with being a babyface, but WWE tried to make me a very specific babyface and it just didn't work. I'm the kind of guy who is way more comfortable being a heel.
Dream house.
If I had a dream house, it would be a big old stone house with a huge garden and pond out back, but it would be far enough from the city where it's quiet, but close enough to where it doesn't take hours just to drive to a place. A big open fireplace inside to sit around to get warm during the winters, a few dogs, and a wrestling ring in the basement.
Dream car.
A few of the guys I know like supercars, but that's not for me. I'm more of a pickup truck guy. If I had the chance, I'd love a 1974 Ford F-150 custom 4x4. Just something simple, old school, with no fancy new age technology.
If you retired from AEW today, what you'd be doing?
If I retired from AEW today, which is something that won't be happening for quite some time, mind you, but I would probably do something within the company. I'd want to coach and be backstage. I want to help the new guys, the younger wrestlers. And if I wasn't in All Elite, I'd probably be sitting on a beach drinking a beer somewhere.
What do you think of John Cena turn heel on Netflix on Raw?
I think it's great. It shows a side of Cena that a lot of people haven't seen before. For the past 15 years or so, Cena has been this Superman-like figure, and it feels like it's been too long since he's played the bad guy. He's very gifted as both a heel and a face, but I think the audience will love the change of pace.
What if you have a dream match against Adam Copeland?
Me versus Adam would be a dream come true. I've wanted that match since we first started in CZW years and years ago. At this point, we've both done everything we could do in wrestling. So now 2 old bastards in this crazy business can go out and just have a hell of a time.
And what type of match?
Honestly, I was thinking a nice, brutal, hardcore match. We both started in CZW. Both of us have been around the block. Like, why not finish it the way we started, with a good old-fashioned death match?
Do you remember this fan jump over? He was holding a knife, right? He almost stabbed you and the security guard tagging him down. Do you remember that incident? WWE.
Yeah, I remember. A fan jumped the guardrail in 2015 during a Raw in Lowell, MA. He was running towards me with a knife. One of the security guards tackled him and pulled him away. I've had a few scary incidents like that. I remember another fan jumped the guardrail during a match in Ireland, and I had to stop the match to tackle him and beat the crap out of him.
Did you press charges? Owe him?
No, I didn't. The guy was very obviously mentally unwell, and it just felt wrong pressing charges against him. Although if the security guard wasn't there and he had actually got to me, I may have had to fight like hell to keep him from stabbing me.
You think Dean Ambrose is a dead gimmick now?
Yeah, I'd say the character of Dean Ambrose is dead. For me, he's gone and he isn't coming back. That being said, if anyone can bring him back, it'd be Vince McMahon. He's the only one stubborn enough to bring back a character just for nostalgia. AJ
Styles versus you versus John Cena, No Mercy 2016.
That's a fantastic match. All 3 of us are excellent pro wrestlers. We worked really good together, although I know at points in the match, it looked like Cena and myself were arguing with each other in the corner. We were actually planning out the next few spots.
Seth Rollins versus you, WWE title, ladder match, Money in the Bank 2015.
Another great match. I remember being nervous that night. It was my first time in the main event at a pay-per-view, but honestly, it was great. We told a great story in the ring and the crowd was super happy with it. I think the ladder spot was the one that got the loudest reaction though.
Roman Reigns and you versus the Wyatt family, SummerSlam 2015.
That was a fun match. I was still playing heel with Roman and it was great. We were both pissed that we had to work together. Wyatts are always fun to work with. I've done a lot of work with Bray over the years and I still consider him a friend.
You versus Drew McIntyre, last man standing match, Raw, March 25, 2019.
God, that was a brutal match. I remember being sore for days after that. But it was great, honestly. I enjoy stiff matches, and I knew Drew and myself were just going to beat the crap out of each other, so it was just a fun time.
Quadra Citra versus Giro, Feb 4, 2019.
That was a decent match. Don't get me wrong, EC3 is a talented guy. There's a lot he could go on to do, but I don't see him sticking around for too much longer. He didn't really have a personality in the WWE. He was trying to channel Triple H, but he doesn't have the presence that H has.
You remember you promo on EC3 said, what happened to EC1 and EC2?
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. I was making fun of him using the nickname he used in Impact Wrestling. He wasn't too happy about that, but in the ring I was too much for him to handle, so it hardly mattered.
Build an Angle versus Strowman, Kane, Miz, and Bar 3-on-5 handicap TLC match, WWE TLC 2017.
That was absolutely nuts. It was a lot of fun because we all knew that if we worked together, we could destroy Strowman. So that's what we did. Everyone played off each other great. I knew Strowman would be a beast of a man, but he was stronger than I expected him to be.
Ayu vs Alberto Del Rio, WWE Raw-10 2966.
God, I hate Del Rio. He's got talent in the ring, but he's a jerk. As a person, he sucks. The match wasn't that bad, but I just did not enjoy wrestling him.
Sheamus versus you United States Championship match.
That was a fun match. I enjoy working with Sheamus. He's got a great fighting spirit and he hits hard. He and myself actually had a great relationship backstage. We always had each other backs for anything.
The Miz versus you Intercontinental Championship match. SmackDown Live, Jan 3, 2017.
Good match. Miz is a great heel. He's good at getting under your skin. The only problem I have with him is that he's a bit of a coward. He'll talk a lot of trash, but he won't back it up in the ring.
The Undertaker versus you, SmackDown, April 26, 2013.
I've been a fan of Undertaker ever since I was little. He's the one guy you do not want to cross. Going into that match, I was scared shitless. It was a dream come true, but I was just like, oh my God, I'm wrestling the Undertaker.
You versus Jinder Mahal Rao, Og, 27 to 2018.
Jinder is decent. He's not the greatest wrestler, but he's got potential. But man, I remember being so bored that match. It was such a bland, forgettable match.
Rao you and Bobby Lashley brawl.
Oh yeah, Bobby and myself have had a few brawls lately. The guy loves to bring a fight, and so do I. He was a beast during that. Absolutely a beast. Like I said, Bobby and I have respect for each other, but he's fun as hell to go to war with.
Hubert John Cena, SmackDown Live, September 20, 2016.
That was another fun match. I really enjoyed working with Cena. He's a machine in the ring, and he's damn good at what he does. I remember that night we had the best match together that we'd ever had.
Daniel Bryan versus. You would make Intercontinental title prestigious again.
I think Daniel, myself, and anyone else could make the Intercontinental title prestigious again. I believe that the Intercontinental Championship is just as important as the world title. We just need to get back to the days where it was just as big of a deal.
WWE Payback preview, Kane.
Oh God, I'll still never forget that match. The ref wasn't paying attention in the match, and he got taken out on the outside, leaving me open for Kane to attack. He gave me an absolute beatdown. It was one of the most brutal ass kickings I've ever received.
Feud with William Regal, FC.
Oh yeah, William and myself had so many great matches down in FCW. Regal's a talented SOB, let me tell you that. We went to war with each other in FCW. It was a series of great, brutal matches.
WWE WrestleMania 33, you versus Baron Corbin.
That match sucked. It was easily one of the worst matches either of us have had. Baron is talented, but I just absolutely did not work well with him that night.
Triple H versus UWA title match at WWE Roadblock 2016.
That was a brutal match. match. I went all out against Triple H, and honestly, he really surprised me. The guy was a lot harder to defeat than I thought he'd be. I knew he was a solid fight, but he was one hell of a war.
You versus Bray Wyatt.
I've had a lot of matches with Bray over the years. I remember the feud that we had really being the thing that took our rivalry to a whole new level. Bray is talented, I'll say that. We've had some good matches, but in the end, he always loses. I don't think any of us has forgotten the time we brought a swamp to the ring.
Do you miss him since he passed away?
I miss Bray with all my heart. He was a friend. We did a lot with each other. To me, he was beyond a friend. He was my brother.
You versus Harper.
Oh, that was a brutal one. Harper had a fighting spirit that matched my own. He wasn't afraid to go to hell and back with anyone. We never backed down. That was a match to watch.
Your WWE Oldham song.
Ah, yeah. That's a classic. A lot of people don't realize that I didn't even pick that. The Shield picked that. Me, Roman, and Seth were in a car together, and they played that one day. It's not the kind of music I typically listen to, but I just liked it. Eventually, they all just stopped listening to it, but I still play it all the time. It's an addicting song.
Who come to the idea, lunatic fring, when you was Dean Ambrose.
That was me. It was just one word I thought of while backstage one day. I was just thinking about how unhinged I seemed to be. And after the match, I talked to Vince about the name, and he agreed. He said it had a certain flair to it that would go over well with the fans.
You began training to become a professional wrestler at the age of 18. Under the teaching of Thatcher and HWA wrestler Cody Hawk, you made your debut in 2004 under the ring name John Moxley. The following year, Moxley won the HWA Tag Team Championship twice with Jimmy Turner and Rick Byrne, respectively.
Yep. Started wrestling at very young age. I had a lot of friends who were into professional wrestling, and they got me into it. And I started in HWA, which is where I really got my start. That's where I got the bulk of my wrestling training done. Everything from my technique to my in-ring psychology was built in HWA.
What is your thoughts? When was Dean Ambrose?
Honestly, when I was acting as Dean, I enjoyed the character and the work I was doing. But behind the scenes, I hated the way my character was being scripted. I wasn't allowed to speak the way I normally speak. I had to say a lot of corny stuff that made me seem like an idiot. I enjoyed the work I was doing, but I wasn't allowed to get as violent or crazy as I wanted to be.
Well, John Moxley, take care. You can take whatever you want.
Thanks, I appreciate it. You take care too. It was great talking to you.